Hello, everyone, and welcome to Civic Platform. This is your host, Zuher Almusre. Infrastructure in Winnipeg is constantly evolving due to the expansion of the city and the rapid growth of its population. Today, Canada and Manitoba invest in second phase of upgrade to the North End sewage treatment plant in Winnipeg, which is one of the most important topics that makes the city of Winnipeg more developed and beautiful. So let's learn more about the details on this advertisement in this episode from Civic Platform.
It's really exciting to see so many people here, and indeed this is an exciting morning in Manitoba. Happy for the rain we had last night and happy for just a little bit of cloud cover this morning. Welcome to the North End Treatment Plant. I'm Eileen Clark. I'm the Minister of Municipal Relations for the province of Manitoba and the proud MLA for Agassiz. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that we are gathered today on Treaty 1 territory. And Manitoba is located on the treaty territories and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Dakota Ote, Anishinaabe, Dene Sule, Nethiwanak, and we acknowledge that Manitoba is located on the homeland of the Red River Métis. We acknowledge northern Manitoba includes lands that were and are ancestral lands of the Inuit. We respect the spirit and the intent of the treaties and treaty making and remain committed in working in partnership with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. And I really believe that today's announcement is upholding those treaty commitments. I'm also pleased to be here today with our Premier, Heather Stefanson, Minister Reg Helwer, MP Terry Duguid, and Mayor Brian Bowman. All-star cast lineup today. I'm also very pleased to have President Chartrand here today. We were expecting Chief Glenn Hudson from the Peguis First Nation, not here yet, but perhaps coming. I also want to acknowledge Alexis Canoe, Executive Director, Lake Winnipeg Foundation. Dimple Roy, Director, International Institute for Sustainable Development. Nicole Chabot, who is the chair of Manitoba Heavy Construction Association. And I've missed anyone, I'm sorry. I've got a list, but it changes from time to time. But I do welcome all of you here today. Today's exciting announcement demonstrates our commitments as a government to collaborate with all levels of government to advance our common goals, to build a stronger, healthier, and a more prosperous future for Winnipeg and all municipalities. I know we're all excited for today's announcement, so I'd like to invite the Honourable Heather Stefanson, Premier of Manitoba, up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your opening comments, and thanks everyone for being here for this very important announcement today. It's great to be back again with the federal government and the City of Winnipeg for another announcement. I know I said stay tuned before, and here we are again. We're back at it, but it's great to have everyone here with us today. I think the sheer number of people who are here from various areas in our province is indicative of how important this project is for all Manitobans. So, and I think it's a prime example of how when we work together, we can get great things done, not only for our city and our province, but also for our country. So thanks again for all of you for being here. As soon as I took office, I made it clear that our government is keen to collaborate with all levels of government to advance key infrastructure projects that will improve the quality of life, create jobs, spur economic growth, and build a cleaner, greener Manitoba. One of the first announcements I made as Premier was with Mayor Brian Bowman at City Hall to advance two significant projects, the Winnipeg Transit Master Plan and Phase 2 of the North End Water Pollution Control Centre. to the Government of Canada as part of the ISA program. Last month, I was pleased to join Mayor Bowman, as well as Terry Dogood and other members of the federal government to fulfill one of those commitments, and today it gives me great pleasure to fulfill the second. On behalf of all of my colleagues at the Manitoba Legislature and those who have joined us here today, I'm pleased to announce that with the support of all levels of government, we have a joint investment of over $550 million for the second phase of the upgrades of this plant. As part of this significant and historic commitment from all levels of government, our government is proud to invest more than $167 million for this critical infrastructure project that will support the City of Winnipeg's growing infrastructure needs and help to build a more modern, clean capital city. With a fast-growing population and enhanced environmental protections, we are pleased to see this project move forward to ensure the highest wastewater treatment standards are met here in our province. Today's announcement is an important step towards our commitment to reducing environmental impacts while stimulating the economy. I am confident this project will also have a positive impact on Manitoba's construction industry, who are key contributors to Manitoba's economy. I look forward to working with the federal government, the City of Winnipeg, and all partners to advance the remaining phases of this project that will have a positive impact on our lakes, rivers, and the well-being of our people and communities here in Manitoba. Today's announcement is good for the environment, and it's good for our economy. And I am pleased to say today that thanks to the hard work of many of the staff as well, those people behind the scenes that really make a lot of these things happen, our government is fully subscribed in the Investing in Canada infrastructure program, which will support investments and improvements in communities all across this great province of ours. Today's event is an opportunity to celebrate our government's commitment to partner with the City of Winnipeg and the federal government to advance our common goals to build a stronger, healthier, and more prosperous future for all. Today is a great day, not just for our city, not just for our province, but for our country. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and being a part of this very exciting announcement. Thank you.
Developed sanitation in cities, as you know, contributes directly to making the city healthy and reduce the spread of disease and epidemics in it, which makes the city more growth and prosperity in the future of the social and economic level.
Thank you, Premier Stephenson. I'd now like to invite Minister Reg Helwer. He is the Minister of Labour, Consumer Protection and Government Services.
Thank you, Minister Clark. It's really great to be here today to participate in this announcement of future significant funding from all three levels of government for this crucial infrastructure project at the North End Water Pollution Control Centre. When I see so many representatives here from the City of Winnipeg, our province of Manitoba, and from Ottawa, it becomes even more clear to me what great things can be accomplished when governments work together to support critical infrastructure. Our Manitoba government is committed to investing in modern infrastructure that supports safety and well-being, sustainability and growth, and infrastructure that improves our quality of life. Investing in the best possible infrastructure for modern wastewater treatment is, of course, a key component of that and a key component of development in Manitoba. This new joint investment of more than $550 million from all levels of government, including more than $167 million from the Manitoba government on the Investing in Canada infrastructure program for biosolids facilities, will ultimately play a large part in the City of Winnipeg meeting its environmental licensing requirements for this plant and improving the life and health of Lake Winnipeg. The Manitoba government will continue to collaborate on the ongoing upgrades of this facility in order for the city to achieve regulatory compliance in the most timely manner possible. Infrastructure projects such as this one, which address environmental protection, are critically important to our commitment to create a greener Manitoba and to strengthen the province's economy. These investments and improvements create jobs and support future development and a cleaner Manitoba environment that will benefit generations to come and ensure Manitobans have access to modern, efficient, and reliable wastewater management systems now and into the future. And I echo the Premier's comments. This is indeed a significant and complex project, and all ISIP projects are important to the communities in which we announce them. But the civil servants at the City of Winnipeg, the provincial government, and the federal government all work together to make this happen, and we thank them for their time and for their work. There's much more to be done, but it's good to see us all working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Helwer. And next, I'm very pleased to introduce from the federal government, the Honourable Terry Duquid, the MP for Winnipeg South.
Well, thank you, Minister Clark. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you here today on Treaty 1 territory, the homeland of the Red River Métis. Great to see my friend and colleague. Where'd you go, David? Yeah. He's hiding. David Chartrand is not shy, I assure you. So, but it's great to be here with everyone. Alongside Premier Stephenson, Minister Helwer, and Mayor Bowman for this very, very special announcement. I was going to say, because I thought we were meeting in front of the sewage treatment plant, but we seem to be in back where the smell is just a wee bit better, but it's always a pleasure for me to be here on this site. I have a very long history with the North End treatment plant, and I am reminded every time I'm here how important this facility is to the health of Lake Winnipeg and the Red River, and both so important to the history of our province and our economy and our way of life today. I'm also reminded of some of my history going back 30 years to my time as a city councillor and the chair of Public Works. Public Works, of course, is responsible for water and waste, and to a time when I served as chair of the Manitoba Clean Environment Commission and got a call from the then premier of a different government. We'd had a major sewage spill, and 75 Pan Am pools worth of sewage were going into the Red River, and that led to a major review of our sewage system, and we are slowly but surely implementing the recommendations of the Clean Environment Commission to protect Lake Winnipeg. And just my observation over the years is that the kind of investment three orders of government are making today, and the figures have been thrown out, over $500 million, a staggering amount of money. These kinds of investments are only possible when governments work together, when governments invest together. This has been a long time coming, but I think I can say that we've invested or committed to invest more in the last 2 years than we have in the last 28. And so indeed, this is a good day for the province, the city, and of course our citizens who at the end of the day have to pay for these environmental improvements. And so today I am proud to share that the federal government will continue to support upgrades to the North End sewage treatment plant. Our government will invest up to $200 million for phase 2 of this project, which will support, you're welcome, which will support enhancements to the plant, including extending the service life, supporting a growth and contributing to a stronger, cleaner, and more environmentally sustainable community. Winnipeg, of course, relies on the North End sewage treatment plant to process 70% of the city's wastewater, and investing in the modernization of the facility will help ensure that we are on our way to the highest wastewater treatment standards. Building on previous efforts and funding, Phase 2 of the North End sewage treatment plant upgrades project will see the construction of new biosolids facilities, which will store and treat sludge to convert it into biosolids, a nutrient-rich product that can be safely reused as fertilizer or soil. The new facilities will ensure that the City of Winnipeg and its surrounding environment will be better protected for years to come. By converting sludge from the city's other two wastewater treatment plants into biosolids, diverting it from the landfill. The transformation of the North End Sewage Treatment Plant is vital to our efforts to support healthy communities and improve the well-being of residents and ecosystems. This funding will help ensure reliable and efficient wastewater collection and treatment and help protect the Red River and, importantly, Lake Winnipeg, the 11th largest freshwater body on Earth, supporting a tourism economy of some $100 million per year, a $20 million or more fishery annually, and the source of livelihoods for many Indigenous communities around the lake. Investments in green infrastructure across the country and here in Manitoba are bringing tangible benefits to communities by supporting growth, protecting the environment, and prioritizing the health of Canadians. By working closely with our partners, you've heard a lot about collaboration today, local governments, provincial and territorial governments, Indigenous communities, not-for-profit organizations, and others. And I would acknowledge some of the people that the Premier and others have acknowledged, and my good friends at the Lake Winnipeg Foundation who poke and prod us to do more on Lake Winnipeg, and we are listening. We can build the future we want, take strong climate action, grow the economy, and bolster our communities. And together we will make bigger strides towards our common goal of a greener, more inclusive Canada. And so on behalf of Minister Dominique LeBlanc, our Federal Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs, Infrastructure and Communities, and my Manitoba colleagues, once again I'd like to express that we will keep working collaboratively with our partners to support meaningful investments in infrastructure projects across the country that deliver results, just like the one we are celebrating today. When we invest in community infrastructure, we're creating stronger communities and investing in the well-being of Canadians today and for generations to come. Thank you. Miigwech.
The correct treatment of sewage produces useful and rich materials for us, such as fertilizer or soil that can be used. It is not just an ordinary project, but an integrated economic project that helps in the vital development of society, and not just getting right on west. Developed cities today benefit from sanitation and make it a resource that help them grow and develop.
I'm now pleased to introduce Mayor Brian Bowman, a good friend of mine, and had lunch with him yesterday, and I think we both agree that Manitoba has a really bright future. So welcome, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Just for the record, when Terry referenced the smell, he wasn't referencing any particular politician. He was referencing the sewage treatment plant. I knew getting into politics there'd be a little bit of crap involved, but what I didn't realize was just how important treating the sewage is to the future of our city and to our economic development efforts. And so today is an incredibly important day. I want to acknowledge, of course, the Honourable Premier Heather Stephenson, the Honourable Reg Helwer, Manitoba's Minister of Labour, Consumer Protection and Government Services, Terry Duguid, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, and a Member of Parliament for Winnipeg South, and somebody who, as he mentioned in his comments, has previously served on Winnipeg's City Council, and of course the Honourable Eileen Clark, Manitoba's Minister of Municipal Relations, and of course President Chartrand, who's with us here today. It's good to be in your company. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you to everybody for being here today. I'd like to begin as well by acknowledging what we do always, that we're on Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. I also want to acknowledge that our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. Had the opportunity to drink some of the water from their new water treatment plant, visiting with Chief Red Sky recently, which was long overdue. Since being elected mayor, I've been working very hard to liberate investment dollars like those being announced today from provincial and federal governments for the benefit of Winnipeg and Winnipeggers. Since my election in 2014, I'm very proud to have collaborated and to brought together almost $2.5 billion in tri-level government funding to help build Winnipeg for a population of 1 million people strong. To our knowledge, no previous mayor has been successful in bringing together more tri-level government funding for Winnipeg during their time in office. And so I'm very proud and grateful to have been able to accomplish this for the citizens of our growing city now and into the future. And today's announcement has been a long time coming. I'm very pleased to be here alongside our government partners to deliver over $550 million of tri-level government funding that will help the environment while enabling Winnipeg and the capital region to grow now and into the future. With the more than $184 million investment by the City of Winnipeg as part of today's announcement, the total level of city investment to date for phases 1 and 2 comes to over $460 million. This Investing in Canada, absolutely. This Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, or ICIP application, was submitted nearly 3 years ago, and when combined with the Winnipeg Transit Master Plan funding announcement in July, represents over $1 billion of funding. That $1 billion has come in the time Premier Stephenson has been leading our province and represents about 40% of the almost $2.5 billion total that I've been able to secure for Winnipeg during my time in office. I want to say quite loudly and publicly, Premier, thank you. Thank you very much for ending the logjam at the legislature and really helping deliver for Winnipeg and for Winnipeggers. I also want to thank our federal partners, including our Prime Minister, Minister LeBlanc, Minister Vandal, and Terry Duguid for their unwavering support for this project and for Winnipeg. And finally, I'd like to also acknowledge and thank the chair of the Water and Waste Committee at City Hall, Councillor Brian Mays, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, as well as my council colleagues and our public service and the public service at the province and the federal government for their support and all of their efforts. The funding being announced today for the North End Sewage Treatment Plant will help Lake Winnipeg by reducing the nutrient loading into the lake, and on top of that, the expanded capacity will enable future population growth and development for our growing city. The North End Sewage Treatment Plant is the City of Winnipeg's oldest, largest, and most critical sewage treatment plant because it provides 70% of the city's wastewater treatment. We all know this upgrade has been needed for many, many, many years. It's one of the largest, the most complicated upgrade projects in all of North America. And that's why the city previously divided the project and the upgrade into 3 phases, so progress could continue while waiting for provincial and federal governments to confirm their support. While we waited, the city led on phase 1 by investing tens of millions of dollars into the project. We've also solely invested in the interim phosphorus removal project. And while this upgrade will address the city's roughly 4 to 5% of nutrient loading that contributes to harmful algae blooms in and around Lake Winnipeg, we will continue to need to see a plan and actions to address the remaining 95% that comes from other sources in Manitoba, from other provinces, and from other states. So I want to say thank you to our government partners for coming together once again for this project. It's absolutely critical and crucial for the continued growth of Winnipeg's population and economy. And on a personal note, I just want to mention my family has had a multi-generational relationship with Lake Winnipeg. My grandfather used to fish the lake. He harvested rice in around the Pine Falls area and the Winnipeg River that feeds into Lake Winnipeg. I've seen in my lifetime the deterioration in the health of our lake. And if you speak with President Chartrand, you speak with elders and knowledge keepers throughout the lake, they will have seen even more devastation to the health of the lake. So these investments are absolutely crucial to turning that around. It's quite fitting. My son Austin is here with us today as youngest representative of the Bowman family and as a representative of the next generation to witness today's historic event, because we all know that there's a lot more work ahead of us now and into the future. So thank you to our government partners. Thank you for everyone for being here. Merci. Imagwech.
thank you, Mayor Bowman. And I have to also acknowledge Austin being here. When my grandson was just a toddler and I was the mayor of Gladstone, I hauled him around to everything. And you know what? He still at 14 wants to be beside me when I'm making announcements and stuff. But you know what? That's the generation we're working for, so it's all great. I just want to share with you, last night, after thinking about this project and others that are in the queue, I thought about the time, the energy, the negotiations, the commitments, and the collaboration that actually got us to this day. And you've heard, it's been a while. So today, Manitoba's leadership, we're aligned and working together and in attendance to see that this much needed and worthwhile project moves forward. Today, we are united, and this is a great feeling for myself, and I know many others, as we make significant upgrades that serve the people we represent in all our respective governments. This is the way Manitobans want to see us, working together. This is what success looks like. I'm so excited about the weeks and months ahead as we build Manitoba and make our province absolutely the best it can be. And I thank all stakeholders and partners and our leadership that are here today. And at this point, I would like to open the microphone to questions from the media. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're right to point that out. Those are the rough numbers. This represents the initial ISIP application that was made. There has been, as mentioned, there was a previous delay, and there's also some new regulatory requirements that are being discussed that are coming from the province. And so our officials are having ongoing dialogue to better assess the anticipated increases that will be needed to accommodate that. That will likely form part of future budget discussions. But that discussion and that dialogue is actively underway with the provincial officials in particular.
So how do you go forward and have the old amount covered?
Yeah. So
you know it's probably going to be more, and the province also wants the enhancements that come with that price.
the numbers have, I mean, the numbers in this space have been fluctuating quite rapidly, and especially in the last year. We're hoping that, especially inflation is better under control, that will affect pricing as well. So we're hoping the numbers actually go in the right direction before they actually have to be budgeted for. In the meantime, we've already invested and we've already begun on the design work. So that's ongoing right now, the design for phase 2. This investment will trigger the RFQ process. So work will begin immediately now with today's announcement on developing the RFQ process that will roll out in the coming months. And then, of course, as the dialogue with the province evolves in the coming months and year, those additional costs that relate to that, and which we've canvassed in the July administrative report that was approved by council, roughly $360 million in addition at present. We'll see where those numbers settle out over the coming year, and also as a result of the dialogue with the province. But the RFQ process will be triggered by this to continue advancing it.
So as it advances, how is that remaining cost covered? Or you
That's
years down the road, or how do we deal with that?
well, how do I feel about it? Yeah.
Usually in a tri-government agreement, this
Yeah.
was complained before, not you specifically,
Yeah.
in past projects, that any overrun ends up being all in the city. So is that what's
Yeah.
happened with that 360, or how do we?
Well, that's what the dialogue and the dialogue in time will tell. This application is a long time coming, so I'm just grateful that all governments are absolutely aligned to approve the request from the city to date. We've recently, of course, received confirmation from the province on new regulatory requirements, as well as we've seen cost increases as a result of the delay. And that's what we're going to have dialogue on reconciling, so that those additional costs, they will need to be dealt with in future council budgets, and that's reflected in the most recent administrative report that highlights that.
So is that still negotiated, or are the phosphorus targets that they added in that contribute to some of the cost hike, is that a guaranteed thing, or is that still being discussed?
It's being discussed. The implication on phase 3 is in particular what we're interested in better understanding. We're working collaboratively with the province on that, and our officials are here as well. They can speak more to the science on this than I think any of us up here. And certainly that's exactly the dialogue that they're having, is what are the implications on that. But this does trigger the RFQ process, which is great news.
So there's still no decision, sorry, just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I'm understanding. There's still no decision on whether phase 3 would no longer be deemed necessary or not.
The implications on phase 3, that is absolutely at the heart of the discussions that we're having to better understand from the regulator. And we're going to comply with the regulator. It's the province of Manitoba. We're going to comply, and future mayor and council, I have no doubt, will comply. That's signaling I should move on to another question.
We ignored it earlier.
Yeah, I know.
We have to pay attention to
It was well timed for your question. Yeah.
Well, it actually
Yeah, Sam.
it kind of rolls into it. You
Yeah.
mentioned the future mayor and council. How
Yeah.
confident are you that not only the rest of the money for phase 2 will be fairly negotiated, but also
Yeah.
phase 3 will move forward? Frankly, you won't be around to
Yeah.
say anything.
You know what? This project isn't about any one individual. It really isn't. The reason why we split the project and the upgrades into 3 phases is so that we didn't stall progress, and we didn't wait until all of the, until phase 3, dialogue was completed. If that were the case, we wouldn't have begun on the Headworks project, for instance, or even the design phase for phase 2. So we've made significant positive progress. I think there are a number of folks that are here today and are part of today's announcement that will be very actively part of the dialogue going forward. And I think there's enough positive momentum and, quite frankly, expectation in Manitoba to continue to see this through. Let's keep in mind this represents about 4 to 5% of the nutrient loading. So as I've been arguing quite publicly and privately for many years, the real actions also have to involve the 95% of nutrient loading in Lake Winnipeg that comes from other sources as well. And I'm hopeful that increases in the dialogue and attention publicly for all levels of government, not just in Manitoba, but beyond, in the coming months and years.
I'd like to ask the Premier actually a similar question about the added cost.
Well, we know that there's inflationary pressures out there. We recognize that. And I think, Mayor Bowman outlined that, obviously, and we're going to have to work collaboratively. But I think it's all levels of government. In the recognition that many of these ISIP programs, the costs were done at a time where it's, prior to inflation or during inflation, and the inflationary pressures that are out there right now are significant. So I think it's going to be incumbent upon all of us to work together to find a solution to that, because what we don't want to see is that projects halt as a result of that. So we're going to have to continue that dialogue and make sure that we work together on it. We're in unprecedented times right now with some of the challenges that we're facing, and obviously all of these projects we want to move forward. We're going to have to work collaboratively.
So is your government, are you ready to support the extra ones?
We're ready to work collaboratively. We're ready to work collaboratively with all levels of government towards the challenges that we're facing.
Sorry, I shouldn't have called it an overrun. In this case, it's an increased cost, but the scope is changing and inflation. But so a big part of it is the scope changing. I guess what I'm trying to get at, does the province think it's worth it to get the extra pollution reduction in phase 2 to add on that extra whatever 1/3 your share of the extra?
Well, I think the mayor outlined the 3 phases. That came from the design. Everything else came from the city of Winnipeg. I think he's outlined and answered those questions. I think from our standpoint, we wanted to move forward on this. That's why we're here today. We felt very strongly about that, and working with the federal government and making sure they're on board. And so I think the very fact that we're all here today making this announcement together means that we're committed to ensuring that, also cleaning up Lake Winnipeg as well. Very much committed to that.
Part of the, I guess, maybe not controversy, but the stress around it judging, how, like, moving forward, how collaborative will your government be in that sense of working forward with environmental governance?
Very collaborative.
How come? And what changed?
I think I've been very clear from the very beginning since I took over as leader the importance of taking a collaborative approach when it comes to anything. And I think that, our government has demonstrated that. And I think it's indicative of why we're here today. And we'll continue to work collaboratively with all levels of government and with people in the community as well.
I can maybe add to that too.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I can just add to that too. I mean, what's changed is we have a new premier. I mean, that's a significant. If you're looking for a change to this file, it really can't be understated that this file this application was collecting dust on the former premier's desk. When Premier Stephenson was elected, she made a commitment to me, both privately and publicly, that she was going to advance these 2 ISIP applications, and she's delivered on that. So, I really do want to just acknowledge that. That has been a significant change in the collaboration that has brought us all together today.
I wanted to ask a bit more for
Yeah.
please.
Thanks.
Do you think that we need phase 3, given the change in the project that we're looking at now? Do we still need to do 4?
Again, the application will come from the city of Winnipeg. We'll have a look at it. I mean, these are very, very complicated, matters and projects. And I think, all of the incredible work that's been done by the staff at all levels of government, this is not something that happens overnight. But we'll wait for that from the city of Winnipeg. They, of course, come up with the project, and we'll have a look at it, and our officials will get together and continue that dialogue. But I will tell you that, and Mayor Bowman said it as well, I too have spent a great deal of time in Lake Winnipeg, and I very much care about the health of our lake. And I want to ensure, I mean, this has been a discussion that's been going on for decades on the nutrient loading on Lake Winnipeg. Municipalities are one part of that, as the mayor mentioned, and there's other challenges out there, and some that are beyond our borders that is very difficult. But we are, through the International Joint Commission, we are having those discussions. And I think it's very important that we look at a comprehensive water management strategy, which we are doing as a province as well. So we will continue to have those dialogues, to work collaboratively with other levels of government, but we're very much, and we'll continue, we'll wait to see what the City of Winnipeg comes up with.
Mayor Bowman, do you know what the timeline is? Like, when can we expect these environmental benefits?
Yeah, the interim phosphorus is something that we're actively working on. I think Tim Shanks, you may want to speak with him afterwards.
Then why is it such a complicated decision to say yes, like we will environmentally invest in this?
The part of the dialogue now will and has already shifted to understanding the requirements from the regulator, and that will impact phase 3. So that's something I know our officials are having pretty active and collaborative discussions with provincial counterparts to get that clarity so we could advance it. You'll know a lot of this has been canvassed, and I know, like Joyanne and Sam, you've both been following the administrative reports that we've made publicly available. For folks that haven't read them, they're all publicly available, where you can see the level of complexity and the dollars involved. This is one of the largest infrastructure projects in Manitoba history, and so not an easy one that happens overnight. But I'm really pleased at least we're here today to advance this phase.
These achievements made by the City of Winnipeg today open the doors to new opportunities, new jobs, and economic growth, similar with the development and progress of the city. So we look forward to more of these achievements to make Winnipeg one of the most important cities locally and globally. We reach the end of our episode. If you like it, please like, share, and subscribe to see our upcoming episodes.